Hey, aloha kako. I went and saw Scream 6 yesterday and it was mai ka'iloa. I loved it. I loved the whole thing. I'm probably gonna go watch it again later this weekend. So yeah, I'm excited to see it again. And just trust me guys, the Scream franchise is just amazing. It's iconic and this Kanaka just loves it so much. And we can get into why I love it so much in a different Mokuna. But for today, this is gonna be about the first time I ever saw the man in the hallway. And by that I mean, this is gonna be about the first time I ever challenged myself to actually look at him. Because for those who are just tuning in, the man in the hallway is in ʻohana. It's an ancestral spirit or entity that used to roam around my ʻohana's house. And for those who want to catch up, I briefly discussed this in season 1 of my series. And I think it was during episode 2 and 3. I don't know. I haven't watched any since I posted them. So yeah, you might have to backtrack in to get the full story about the man in the hallway. Oh, now it's kind of drizzling. Alright, hopefully that's a good sign that I can keep telling this story. If it starts pouring hard, then yeah, I'll take that as a sign to, okay, no, maybe not share this one. Okay, but so I wasn't the only one in my ʻohana. In fact, it wasn't just my ʻohana. So anybody who used to come over and hang out at my family's house, they would also see the man in the hallway. So there was this one couch out in the living room that if you sat on it, you could literally, if you turned a certain way, you look straight down into the hallway. So anyone who sat on that couch, they'd always be looking down the hallway, because out of the corner of your eye, you would see this shadow figure just shoop, walking out of people's rooms, going back into people's rooms, walking up and down the hallway. Yeah, and it would trip people out because they'd be like, did anybody else see that? So yeah, it was kind of a cool little party trick that we would have for whoever was new to our house. They would just sit on that couch and be blessed with the presence of the man in the hallway. The unfortunate part of this story is that the only reference me and my siblings, or pretty much anybody in our family, had regarding spirits came from Hollywood movies or from Bible kind of stuff. And thanks to those movies and the Bible, anything spiritual, it's kind of scary. Yeah, we're don't talk about that. We don't want to bring about any demonic entities into our household, which now that I'm older, it's all of that is super silly. But okay, back to the story. So yeah, my siblings and I, we'd be scared of the man in the hallway because of the movies and the way that they portrayed spirits as being these spooky things that are out to get you, and they'll come and drag you away in the dark in the middle of the night. If any of you have seen Paranormal Activity, you know what I'm talking about. That one scene where the girl gets dragged. Ooh, that used to scare me so much because I never wanted that to ever happen to me. So yeah, pretty much everyone in my household was scared of the man in the hallway. And me being me, there was something inside of me saying just don't be afraid. Just try look at him and just try see for yourself and see what happens. So there was one night in particular where I was like, okay, I just gotta be brave and I'm gonna look at this man in the hallway. I'm gonna not be scared to see him out of the corner of my eyes. I'm actually gonna turn and face him, and I'm just gonna watch, and we're gonna make eye contact, and yeah, I'm not gonna be scared of him anymore. So that night I was in my room, I was alone, and I think I was the last person awake in the house. So yeah, I was in my room watching TV, and the way that my bed was set up, so my bed was against the wall, and if I leaned a certain way, I could see directly out into the hallway. So because of the man in the hallway, I used to never lean in that direction. I'd be like, nope, I'm not gonna see that. Whoever that is in the hallway, I'm not gonna look at him ever. But that night I was like, no, yeah, stop being a scaredy cat. We can do this. So again, I was watching TV, and then at a certain time at night, you can just sense that he's around. So what I did was, I was looking at the TV, and then I began to slowly lean over to where I could see out into the hallway. And then I got the shock of my life. Standing there in the hallway and looking straight at me, dead in the eyes, was this tall Hawaiian man. He was wearing a suit. It looked like a suit from maybe the 1900s, kind of like a business suit. I don't really know how to explain it, but I'll show you guys a picture later because there's more to this story. But the thing that I remember the most was that we locked eyes, and at one point it looked like his body disappeared and all I could see was darkness and his eyes looking straight at me. And once I saw that, I jumped off my bed And I turned on all the lights in my room, and then I looked back in the hallway and he was gone. And then yeah, the whole rest of the night I kept my TV on, I kept all the lights on. I was like, yeah, no, I can't do this. Oh my gosh. And I remember when I got back on my bed, I like covered my whole body I covered my face with the sheet. I kept my feet like tucked in. I was like in fetal position. I was like, no, I don't want nothing taking me. I don't want that man coming in my room and taking me. Because thanks to movies like Paranormal Activity, I was like, no, I'm not experiencing that. No, not this Kanaka. And yeah, so I stayed like that the rest of the night. And then the next morning, I remember telling my ʻohana what happened, and the immediate response was cold, because nobody knew what to say. They kind of just like glossed it over. They're like, well, nothing happened to you, so just drop it. And I remember being repeatedly told, like, just don't talk about it, because the more you talk, this is a quote of what I was told. Don't talk about it, because the more you talk about it, the more you give it power, and it's gonna be your fault if anything happens to us. This is the kind of logic I've heard from not just Kanaka and my ʻohana. I've heard it elsewhere. Especially from those Kanaka who have been so heavily conditioned and indoctrinated into non-Kanaka, like spiritual and religious beliefs. In particular, Kanaka who have chosen to use the Christian doctrine as their kahua or their foundation instead of putting the Hawaiʻi or the Hawaiian perspective first. Yeah, that's when things get pretty problematic. But we're gonna get into that in another Mokuna. But other than that, yeah, that was my first time like facing my fears and looking at the man in the hallway dead on. And it wouldn't be until a couple years later that I figured out who this dude was. More on that in another Mokuna. And yeah, to wrap it up, I was trying to think of like what kind of mele I could use to kind of like sum up the man in the hallway storyline. And the only one that kept popping up in my mind was this song. I always feel like somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Oh. See you guys in the next Mokuna, and go watch Scream 6.